Hey friends, welcome back to my channel, and for those of you who are new here, hi, I'm Amy and this is Thrift Adventure. Today I'll be doing a ship with me video. In these videos I go day to day and I share the different items that I'm shipping out. You want to be sure to watch all the way to the end because I always have interesting and unique items, and hopefully you can learn something new to keep your eyes out for when you're out thrifting. So I had a pretty great weekend. Today is Monday, October 9th. It is a holiday, so I won't actually be able to ship these out, but I wanted to get a jump on shipping because I have some stuff going on tomorrow. So I'm really excited. The first item I don't have for you here because it was a Facebook Marketplace sale. So it was a KitchenAid mixer that I picked up at a fundraiser yard sale. I sold it for $75. I advertised it for local pickup only and cash only. So the person paid me cash, so there's no fees. My average cost of goods for that sale was $1.50 per item. It was one of those items where you just grab stuff and took it up and they told you a price. And I got some really great stuff for a really great price. So that made my profit $73.50 on that mixer. I'm not sure if I could have got more for it. It was a little bit older one and it had some, scuffs and whatnot. So I just decided I was ready to move it out. So I just decided to take that $75. The next item I also got at that same fundraiser sale. This has been, I think, almost 6 months ago. But it's a pair of these, the last pair of these Larissa Loden Cicada bug earrings. I got 6 pairs of these, and I wasn't really sure on the style, like I've said before, but it turned out to be a really great purchase, especially for that price. And this gal, actually, she had already bought one of the pairs from me, and she loved them so much, but she ended up losing one of them. So she sent me a message after she bought them, and she was super excited that I still had one pair left because she had loved them so much. Okay, so they sold for $26. I paid $1.50. So after Posh fees and my cost of goods, that made my profit $19.30. They kind of all sold in that $20 to $30 range, which I am thrilled about. The next item is this vintage wood belt buckle. Isn't that cool? It did have some glue and stuff on the back. I included all that in the description. I picked this up and it was on a belt, but sometimes when there's a cool buckle and a cool belt, I will separate them and sell them separately because I feel like I can make more money. And I think that's the case for this. This sold for $35 just for the buckle. I paid $2, so that made my profit $26. Belt buckles are not typically a super quick seller for me, but they don't take up very much space and I usually don't pay very much for them. So I don't really think it's that big of a deal. Okay, the next item is a super cool pair of vintage cowboy boots. I was tempted to keep these, but I had them for a little while and I didn't reach for them. So I got this offer for $100. These do have some sort of exotic skin, either alligator or crocodile. So that's probably why they sold for a little bit more. I usually put in my description, reptile, alligator, or crocodile. I'm not sure. And I usually put the term exotic in the title or description. These did have quite a bit of scuffs and wear on them, but I didn't really think that was that big of a deal. They were just so cool. So did I say they sold for $100? I paid only $5 for these at a small town thrift store. So after Posh fees and my cost of goods, that made my profit $75. I am thrilled with that. And these didn't take a super long time to sell, maybe only 2 or 3 months. So in the grand scheme of things, really not too long, and I am thrilled with the profit. Some of the exotic skin boots can sell for more, but because these were distressed, I thought that $100 was totally reasonable. And I don't remember, but I don't think they were a certain really desirable brand. I always do research on the brand and, you know, all the other details before I list them. Okay, the next item that sold, this is another pretty great sale. These are, aren't these gorgeous? Roberto Cavalli heels, and they're kind of a wedge. They're very like avant-garde looking. These took a really long time to sell. I think a year to 2 years. I did have them priced a lot higher to begin with, but I just didn't get any bites on them. They ended up selling for $80, which kind of seems like a shame because I'm sure these cost, you know, at least $600, but sometimes you just can't get super great prices for these designer shoes, or some people are able to and some people aren't. I see, you know, some other resellers buying designer items from one seller and flipping them for significantly more. And I just felt like I waited almost 2 years and I wasn't able to get a high price for these, even though I thought they were super cool. So I just went ahead and took that $80. I had only paid $7 at a thrift store because they missed that they were this good brand. So that made my profit $57. I'm also a little bit more motivated to sell some things right now because I have my last trip of the year coming up and I'm going to Palm Springs with some friends. So I wanted to have some extra spending money, and I'm hoping that I'm going to have time to hit up a couple of thrift stores, and I wanted some extra money for that. So I was happy to let go of a few of these items that I had listed for a while. Also, I've been pretty motivated watching Lori Tata and her kind of quest to declutter and downsize. And so that's made me motivated to, you know, move some stuff out and accept offers and kind of declutter a little bit. Yeah, anyways, I really enjoyed those videos. If you struggle with clutter or, you know, overbuying, those you would probably benefit from watching those too. Okay, the next item that sold is this vintage plaid Pendleton wool suit, and I believe this is from the 60s or the 70s based on the styling and the colors. It came with these wide leg pants also. This was a consignment piece from one of my friends. It ended up selling for $97, which I think is pretty great. I'm not going to complain about that at all. For consignment, I do a 50-50 split, and that 50% is after Posh takes its fees. So that made my cost of goods, let's see, what are we gonna do here? My cost of goods, $38.80, and my profit, $38.80. When I do consignment, which I don't typically do anymore, but when I do, I am shooting to only take items that have at least a $25 return. At least that's my goal. You know, you can't always predict what something will sell for. but I feel like the time that is involved in photographing, listing, and shipping, and then the bookkeeping that is involved with consignment, I feel like I should make at least $25 an hour, which doesn't even really seem like that much nowadays. But that's just kind of how I do it. You are more than welcome to do however works for you. I also just feel like, you know, if I'm selling a lower priced item, I'm almost losing money because I could be listing one of my own items instead of that consignment piece. Okay, the next item is a Ellington leather purse. This is a good brand to keep your eyes out for at the thrift stores because, let's see, I was gonna see if there was a tag or a mark, because a lot of times thrift stores will not know this brand, but when you touch it, you can just really tell that it is a nice quality. I have sold this brand. I checked my comps before I decided to accept this offer. My sales prices were as low as $39 all the way up to $89. This particular bag had a little bit more wear and kind of distressing. So I got an offer for $45 and I decided to go ahead and accept it. Also, like I said, I'm motivated to, you know, move some stuff out. This was not listed very long though, 2 weeks max, maybe even only a week. But I only paid $3 for it. So that still left me with a pretty nice profit of $33. If things had been different and I wasn't kind of motivated to, you know, make some money for my trip, I may have held out for a little bit higher price on this purse, but it isn't a super well-known brand, so it doesn't always sell super quickly. The next piece is this men's vintage corduroy coat, and it's kind of lined in a faux fur, and it has these cool buttons. I would guess that this is also from the 70s. Here is the label. It's from Sears. Most of my vintage items, I don't pick up for brand. I pick up for style. Of course, there's exceptions to that rule. If it's a great brand, of course I'm going to pick it up. But I use a lot of keyword tags in my listings that describe the style, and that's how I sell the items as opposed to the brand. So like for this, and for most of my vintage items, I did not list this under Sears brand. I listed it under the vintage brand on Poshmark, and people actively follow and look under that section for items. And so with vintage, sometimes it doesn't even matter what the actual brand is. People are just going for a particular look. Okay, so this sold for $45. Again, after I accepted that offer and got this out, I was like, oh, should I have held out for more? But I think $45 is just fine. Also, I only paid $1 for it at an estate sale. So after posh fees and my cost of goods, that made my profit $35. I think that is great. And I think, I don't know, that was listed 3 or 4 months. I think I got that this summer. And then the next item that sold is this vintage Wilson's leather jacket. I think this is probably from the 90s. It's a really thick, stiff leather. And I picked this up at a fill the bag sale. It took quite some time to sell, probably over a year. It sold for $41. It did have like a distressed look with marks and scuffs. I described it as fair vintage condition. So I think the $41 is an appropriate price for it. I only paid $1 for this at a fill the bag sale. So after Posh fees and my cost of goods, that made my profit $31.80. I think that's great. I'm really glad to move this out. Also, I've mentioned it before, but my coat rack. So right there, I store most of my coats on those racks, and it is really overflowing and too full. So I am motivated to sell coats, and it's the right time of year. So okay, well, that is all for today, but don't go anywhere. I will be back in a couple of days to share what else I sell. If you enjoy this type of video, I'd love it if you would subscribe to my channel and ring the bell. That way you won't miss any of my new uploads, and I do these videos every week. Also, if you could give this video a thumbs up and comment down below, both those things also really help me out. Okay, I will see you soon. Hey there, it's Wednesday and I've got a few more goodies to ship out. I have a Chairish sale, which I'm really happy about because it's been, I think, almost 2 weeks since I've sold anything on Chairish. I have not been listing on there, but I did put up a couple of listings a few days ago, and so that's probably why I got this sale. It is this vintage pair of cocktail glasses, and they say "On the Rocks." They're really cute. Just different designs. These are signed Fred Press. So that's a collectible maker of vintage barware. So keep your eyes out for unique vintage barware. This set of 2 glasses sold for $54. I think that is just wonderful. They did have a little bit of wear to the, I don't know if you'll be able to tell, but to the gold tone decoration. As long as it's not completely gone, people will still buy them if they still look nice. So they sold for $54. I paid $4. Chairish charges the 22% seller's fee. So after their fee and my cost of goods, that made my profit $39. I think that's great. I will package these up off camera. On that note about Cherish's fee, I have linked the seller's guide for Chairish in the description box below. And if you are interested in selling on Chairish, I would encourage you to completely read through that because there's a lot of important information. One piece of important information is that if you have less than 10 items listed on Chairish, they charge 40%. So you want to make sure that you are ready to list at least 10 items and even more to keep your fee at 22%. There's also some other options where you can sign up and pay $99 a month. And for that $99, you get your fee discounted to 20%. Then you also get a certain amount of free promoted listings. For the amount that I sell, I don't find that that's worth it for me. And I have tried the promoted listings on Chairish and I did not see any result from them. I only did it at $1 a day. Maybe I didn't do enough, but it didn't seem worth it to me at that time. If I continue to get more high dollar listings on there, I may reconsider. But that's just a quick tidbit. I had quite a few people say that they went to sign up for Chairish and it said that it charges 40%. It does outline how that works in the seller's guide, so be sure to read through that so that you can learn all about it. Okay, so the next item that sold is this vintage gold tone necklace. It's just a costume jewelry piece. It kind of has X's and O's. This only sold for $20, which I kind of would have liked to have gotten more for it, but it's not really a super special piece. And I am really motivated to sell items that aren't particularly special. Do you know what I mean? So when I get offers on pieces like this that I don't feel like are really high dollar or unique items, I am accepting them because I need to move some inventory out. Also, I only paid $1 for this. Everything, the rest of these sold on Poshmark, if I didn't say that. So after Posh fees and my cost of goods, that made my profit $15. Not huge, but for a $1 investment, I think that is a wonderful profit. And I am happy. I have lots of necklaces also. More necklaces than any other jewelry type. So that's why I was even more motivated to let this go. It hasn't really been that busy the last couple of days, but I have had some sales nonetheless, so I'm not going to complain. The next item that sold is this men's pair of Keen shoes. These are in excellent condition, but I have had them listed for 6 months, maybe even a year. They are a size US 16. So I think that could be why they were a little bit harder to sell. That's also why I picked them up though, because I think it can be harder to find this size. These ended up selling for $30, which is just fine, although I did hope for a little bit more. I only paid $6 for these. So after Posh fees and my cost of goods, that made my profit $18. Again, had these been newer inventory, I probably wouldn't have accepted that $30. In fact, I think I've been offered $30 for these before and I did not accept it. But because they have been hanging around for a while, I was ready to say, okay, let's move these out. And I still made quite a nice profit on them. The next item that sold is this vintage cashmere sweater. It's from Saks Fifth Avenue. This is a men's piece. This ended up selling for $30. Again, this had been listed since, well, at least 6 months. So when I got this $30 offer, I said, okay, I will take that. Especially because I had only paid 50 cents for this at a small town thrift store at the end of last winter. So maybe it's only been listed 3 or 4 months, but they were having a sale on all of their sweaters for 50 cents. And I got this and a couple other great fabric, you know, like wool or cashmere sweaters. So after Posh fees and my cost of goods, that made my profit $23.50. Sorry if I'm a little dusty looking. I have been working really hard to get my other part of the shop organized because I am going to have my shop open to the public this weekend. So for those of you who haven't watched my About Me video, maybe I'll try and remember to link that in the description box below. But this area that you see behind me is my storage area. So that is why it's pretty cluttered. Also, I'm not that organized of a person in general, but I have this room and then I have another room where I stage my furniture and home decor, and I sell that locally sometimes as well as online. So I was talking about that other room, getting it organized and ready to have the public come in. So keep your fingers crossed. I have so much home decor and I really could, it'd be great to move some of it out. So hopefully I get a lot of people and I make some sales there. But I will definitely report back. Today's Wednesday and that's not till Saturday. So I'll report back next week and let you know how it went. All right, don't go anywhere. I will be back real quick to share what else I sell. Hey there, it's Friday and it was a pretty great couple of days. I had some pretty decent sales that I am excited to share with you. The first item that sold is this vintage pepper grinder salt shaker by Dansk, which is D-A-N-S-K. This is a Danish modern brand. This is one of the older pieces. They do also make new pepper, well, they continued to make pepper mills, but this is one of the older pieces. It has a metal grinder, and some of the older pieces are more valuable. Also, it depends on the style. This one sold for $180. Some of the more rare styles, I've sold one before over $400, and I've seen others sell $600-800. So keep your eyes out for these cool vintage pepper grinders because some of them can be quite valuable. Like I said, this sold for $180 on Chairish. I picked this up at an estate sale for $8. So after Cherish's fee, which is 22%, and my cost of goods, that made my profit $133.50. I am thrilled with that. Some of the comps were varied on that style. So some were lower and some were higher. I had that listed for a little while. So when I got that offer, I just decided to go ahead and accept it because it still left me with a really great profit. The next item that sold is kind of hard to show, but it is this Western oilskin duster jacket. It is like a cowboy riding jacket. It is full length, and it is this cool oiled, I believe it is, oh yeah, it is cotton, and it's kind of like a heavy cotton canvas. This one is by Drizzabone. Now I do, oops, I'm hitting that. I do pick up this style of coat whenever I see it for a affordable price. Because I have had good luck. I'm going to package that up off camera just because it's so bulky. But I have had good luck selling those in the past for good prices. This one ended up selling for $100, which I am thrilled with. I paid $20, so I did pay up a little bit. But like I said, in my experience, they sell for $80 and up if they are in reasonable condition. And that sold on Poshmark. So after their fee and my cost of goods, that made my profit $60. Another really great profit that I am excited about, and that sold pretty quickly. I think maybe 2 or 3 weeks. I haven't even published the haul video yet. Well, you'll see it before you see this video, but I haven't published the haul before that sold, unfortunately, but a sale's a sale, so I'm excited. Okay, the next item that sold is this hot pink leather kind of woven belt. It's a Western style. I've had this style of belt before, but always only in black or brown. I had never seen this hot pink color. So I was pretty excited to find it. I always like picking up unique color belts. They sell just as well, if not better, than basic color belts because it's kind of hard to find nice leather belts in different colors. There was no name brand on it, so I listed it under the vintage brand, which is what I do with most of my belts. If I'm not sure of the age of the belt, typically in the listing I will put, I'm not sure of the age of this piece, listing under vintage brand for exposure. I have yet to have anyone complain about that, so hopefully it is not that big of a deal for people. This sold for $25. I only paid $1 at a small town thrift store, so that made my profit $19. I think that's great. Also a quick sale, like I said. Another belt sale. This is kind of like, I describe this as chain link. I thought it was kind of interesting. It's super flexible and soft. I picked this up for a few reasons because it's leather. I liked this interesting woven whatever. It's size extra large. It did have some distressing on it and wear, but as I've said over and over again, I don't let that stop me. I still will list items and inevitably they will sell. This ended up selling for $25, even with that distressing. So I think that is a pretty great price. I paid $1 for it at an estate sale. So after posh fees and my cost of goods, that made my profit $19 again. For a $1 investment, I think $19 profit is amazing. especially because I find that belts are easy to photograph and list and ship. I usually double wrap, kind of double coil my belts and then buckle them so they're doubled up in my photos. I think that is a nice way to display them. I do have my Poshmark closet linked below, so if you want to see how I list belts, you can go look at my closet. I always include the width measurement, and I also include a photo of the measurements of where the holes land from the base of the prong on the buckle or the end of the belt, and then I include that in my listing as well. The reason I take pictures of it is because I photograph in bulk. So I photograph and I measure and take the pictures of the measurements so that if I am out at the park or driving, well, riding somewhere, I have all of my information right there in my photos so I can list from anywhere. Plus, I think buyers appreciate a visual on items or that type of thing sometimes. So I find that to be my most effective way to, you know, photograph and list belts. Okay, the next item that sold is this vintage pair of Ferragamo. They're not ballet flats, they're kind of loafers, pumps, I guess you would say. These ended up selling for $32, which doesn't seem like much for a pair of designer shoes. And as you've seen this week, I've accepted some lower offers on designer pieces, but these, they had been listed for more than 2 years. I think I had them listed as high as $89 at one point, and I sent out offers, tried changing the price, the photos, all of the things, and it didn't work. So this woman offered me $32, and I went ahead and accepted. These were also, I believe they were a AAA, which is very narrow. So that is also a harder size to sell. I got these in a estate sale for $1, so it still left me with a great profit. I have sold these pumps for higher prices in the past. Just kind of depends, I think, on the color and the size, the time, who comes along. Anyways, I'm happy to let these go because they've been listed for too long. So my profit was $24.60. That is just fine. I am feeling good about letting go of some things that have been listed for a while. I'm not taking any losses. I'm still making great profits. So it's feeling good to kind of downsize a little bit, and I'm still happy with the profits that I'm making. Okay, the next item that sold is this pair of Fry boots. They're in pretty nice condition, just a basic heeled black bootie. These ended up selling for $45. Fry is kind of hit or miss for me. Sometimes it sells for great prices, and sometimes it does not sell for great prices. Excuse me. I think that this $45 is okay. I did pay $10 for them. I'm not exactly sure how long these were listed, maybe 6 months or so. But I thought that $45 was fair. So after Posh fees and my cost of goods, sorry, I'm shedding, my hair's shedding today, that made my profit $26. That is just fine with me. I don't know if I've mentioned it recently, but these plastic sheets that I use are actually dry cleaner bags. So they're long, that you would, you know, put over clothing. I got mine in an estate sale. They come in a roll, but you can find something similar on Amazon. Just search plastic dry cleaner bag roll and you'll see some options. They are a little pricey, but usually I cut them in half to reduce waste, and I think they work pretty well. I don't know, I think when I run out of these, I might move to paper packaging or more paper packaging. just because I don't like using plastic if I don't have to. But seeing as I got these at an estate sale, I thought that was kind of a form of, you know, reducing waste. I'm also using these fun stickers for my packages, and these say, warning, opening this package will cause extreme happiness. I got these off Temu, which is T-E-M-U. They were very cheap. I think like $2 for 60 or 80 or something. I thought they're cute and fun, so. Okay, the next item that sold, I wasn't sure about these when I picked them up. They're these vintage boots, and I couldn't make out the brand name on them, so I used Google Lens, and of course I didn't write down what the brand name was, but to see if I could find more information on them, and I found a brand name. They're probably from the 60s. They're pretty scuffed up, but I just thought they were kind of cool and funky, and they were only $1 at an estate sale. They ended up selling for $35, which I think is pretty great. They also, someone picked them for a host pick, which I don't really get excited about, but I was really surprised that they decided to choose this item as a host pick. I think it was men's shoes, best in men's shoes or something like that. But anyways, they kind of surprised me. I didn't really know how they would do. I just kind of picked them up more as an experiment and because they were affordable. So like I said, they sold for $35. I paid $1. So after Posh fees and my cost of goods, that made my profit $27. I think that's pretty great. Someone on one of my last videos said that she loved how I smile when I say how much I made on each item. And I think it's pretty funny that she mentioned it. I do try and smile as much in my videos as I can. Most of the time it's natural, but I do think that, you know, when I'm watching a video, I like it when someone is upbeat and happy, and I assume that you guys do too. Also, when I'm talking about my profits, that it's just the thrill of this business for me that you can, you know, find someone else's trash or, you know, discarded items for cheap and then sell them to someone else who thinks that they are really great and special. So it's a thrill for me, and it genuinely makes me excited and happy to have this business and do this. Okay, so it turned out to be a pretty good week. It's just Friday, but like I mentioned, I'm going to be open in my retail space tomorrow, and so I don't think I'm going to have time to ship, so I'll just ship those on Monday. My total sales for the week were $1,120. I'm thrilled with that. It's a little bit better than it has been. My total cost of goods was $114.30. And my total profit after website fees, my cost of goods, and any shipping discounts is $793.50. I'm always shooting for 1,000, but it is a goal. And as you can see, I don't always achieve it. Sometimes I exceed it. It's just how it goes. So thank you so much for watching. If you're enjoying my videos, I'd love it if you'd subscribe to my channel. It really helps me out, and give this video a thumbs up. Both of those things really encourage me, and they help my channel grow. All right, thanks again. I'll see you guys next week.